So, new day, and we have, believe it or not, blue skies, and it's nearly 19 degrees. It's hard to believe after such torture we've had for the last, since the first week of March. It's been absolutely cruel, but maybe the corner's turned. It's a lovely day now, and ground will soak up. There's a long way to go, put it that way. It's a long way to go. But I have the quad spreader back on because I'm going to attempt to put out some fertilizer on some of the paddocks. It's great, probably do 3-4 paddocks, because there's not a mission. We will go in with that joke. Not a mission, because we're doing some of the real steep ground as well. So I just want to keep grass growing, because grass has slowed down quite a bit. It probably will kick off now with the sunshine, but it's been so dull. It's been warmish, but really dull and just too wet for grass to grow. Silage ground is walking it, but not grazing ground. We also have a problem with our fertilizer spreader, but that'll be for a different video. I'm hoping maybe it is actually fixed itself. Last time I was using it, it's not opening properly on this side. It's only half open on this side. But I'll get onto the tractor in the next week and get a proper look at it and see what the story is with it. But we'll sort that out after. You can see me fertilizer. Kieran, the boy in our local co-op who was loading us, said, I'm going to put on the most stable pallet that we have, because I know it'd be brutal lads coming with these type of trailers, because they're always talking about the loads falling off by the time they get home. And it is. But I almost got home. I got within a mile of my house, and then we got to a real rough part of ground, and no matter how slow I went, it was all downhill and it was just rock boat back and forth, and it almost fell forward, but I got the strap onto it. That got me home. I always bring the straps with me, and hopefully it'll not fall till we get it lifted. I might just actually hook it in first before I take the strap off it. But anyway, it's going into the spreader. Let's get that done. We're not in any small loads today, full half tons all the way. So, stick the lid back on, pull that way down. Right, ready to go. Lock this into gear. Very hard to film. Can't put the GoPro nearly anywhere on the quad because it'd be absolutely destroyed. Very bumpy and shocking messy. So you can see I only done about 5 acres there, and you can see the state of the spreader. That is one thing, it is messy, but it's only muck. It washes off, not do an ounce of harm. Most important thing is getting fertilizer on the ground. Now if the paddocks were drier, you wouldn't have a mess like that. And another thing is, if you didn't go in just straight after the cows, you wouldn't have a mess like that if you left it a few days. But I had planned on putting out more fertilizer today. I am going to do this paddock, and I am going to do a bit going down to where the cows are at the moment, which is very, very mucky. But we went over to our meadow, and I just looked across the hedge. I was surprised to see the lovely dark green colour on the grass after the slurry that we put out, because I looked at that a few days ago and it was horrid looking. It was just yellow and looked like it had no effect at all. But the bit of sunshine the last 24 hours, amazing what it does. Like, Right, so we're on to our next job here, which we're just about to start fixing up our paddocks, and we're going to try to do some repairs and get them back into some sort of shape. So what I have on now is the rollers. That's what we're going to start with, and this side is just after filling up, so you take that out, and that's it full now. I want to get this stopper put back in, but before I put it back in, I want to actually just put some grease on it. So that's one side done and sealed. Now I have the tractor turned around, and because I want the slope to go that way so they fill up fuller. So that one there is going to fill now. It'll probably take about a half an hour for it to fill. While that's doing that, I'm going to go up and I'm going to move some fences out of the way. I'm going to move a fence for this evening's milking and just do a few things just to get them knocked out of the way while I'm waiting for this to fill up. This roller, I done a job on it. I bought this back about 10 plus years ago. A good roller. I think I paid about €700 for it at the time, which wasn't bad for a roller like this. I don't know what brand it is. There never was a sticker on it when I bought it. But a good strong roller it is. It wasn't in bad condition when I got it. It did need a few things done to it. This here was in bad condition, so I replaced that whole front part there completely, rebuilt one just from scratch. And then another thing that was gone was these wooden bushings that are in here were completely banjacks. The roller was all over the place, so I took it apart. I got the wooden bushings for it. They're just little planks of wood, and they're quite easy to do. I just unbolted these, lifted the frame up out of the way, and just dropped it back down again on its new bushings. But the only issue I'm seeing here now is they're not taking grease no more. When I put the grease in here, it's squashing out the top and it's not making its way down. And it's important because if you're rolling quite a bit, the timber and steel friction as it's turning will heat them up and will wear them out a lot quicker. So I would like to get that sorted. I don't know what's wrong. If I can remember right, it's a while since I did it, but I think there is a steel rod that goes down from this grease nipple straight down into that bushing through the timber. So sometime, not today, but sometime I will have to take that nipple off and maybe run a drill bit down, because I'm not sure if them steel rods are still in it. And I'd say if I just drill a hole straight down, maybe put, I don't know, a plastic straw or something into it, just through the timber, it should be fine. And screw this back on to get grease back down there. But for the wee bit I'm doing today, they'll do for now. I'll sort it out someday when I'm not just as busy. But another thing I will do with it again is I'll give it a good power washing down. We'll sand it down, maybe get the girls to sand it down, and we'll put another coat of paint. And I did paint it before, but it's 10 years ago. Bit of oxide paint. We have it already up there. But at the end of the day, it is only a roller. It's for rolling fields, and that's all that matters. And that, it does well. So this is one of our paddocks that got tore up. I did take a picture of this and put it on Instagram one morning when it was extremely wet, and it looked a lot worse than it does now. And as you can see, there are very deep ruts the whole way along it. So them deep ruts, well, through time they probably would fill in themselves, but it'll take a long time. But we're going to go in here and we're going to roll it. That's going to firm them down because the ground is drying out nicely now. It's still soft enough, so we should get a lovely roll in, and that should put this field back to the way it was. You can see up there they're a different colour, and the different colour is there because I put a back fence and it was just a different day. Just goes to show that was the real wet week. We left this sit then for 3 days. It soaked up, no damage done up here. So we just need to roll this place itself the whole way across here, just a small section, and then in the next paddock we need to do the same, and a couple of paddocks that are very like this, all around the gaps, and just get them all firmed up again. Now you might ask, before we start this, Adrian, you're not going to take your tine harrow out and give it a run with the tine harrow? Well, I was going to initially do that, and there's two reasons why I'm not, and you might disagree with me, I don't know, but I'm just going to try something different. But I was talking to a guy yesterday who has a tine harrow just like mine and has a seeder and everything, and he has a lot of experience with it, and he told me I wouldn't go into a paddock like this with a tine harrow and tear into it because you're going to pull up a lot of sods. I'd roll it first, flatten it out, and then come in with your tine harrow and oversee it, and then if you have a chance, come back in with your roller, roll it again, and a light coat of slurry over it, and you'll have a field that will look like a reseeded field. And it actually does make sense because the tine harrow, although it would fill in a lot of them ruts, it would tear up a lot of sods, so it makes sense when you think about it. So we'll give it a go, nothing to lose, and see what happens. You have to be open to learn something different every day, and if it works, then that's the way we'll do it. It's probably a little bit more time consuming, but we're not doing a big area. We're only doing maybe 3 acres in total between all the different paddocks we have to do. So let's tear into it.
Sorry about the squeaky seat, by the way. I realised it was a squeaky. I'm going to drop a WD-40 on it in a wee while.
You'll see there's a wet spot, look at just there going down to where the lane is. Yeah, you can see she sank nicely there, so she did.
But it's only in a few areas, not everywhere. And I did walk around here yesterday evening. I shouldn't have went into that one. I should remember where it was, but I was passing too much remarks on the camera instead of where I was going. But I know there's one over here too, and the water is still on top of the ground. There's probably a little drain there I need to sort out, this one over here, and the same there, but overall it's rolling down nicely. I'll show you when we get this paddock done.
More or less done these 2 paddocks, so that's the one we're in there now. It's all flattened out. I'm sorry, I should have actually showed you before I walked away from it, but you can see the way it has flattened it out. Grass, I think it's spot on for the town harrow to come in now and run across that, because there is too much bare spots in it, and grass will eventually grow back on it, but you get the wrong type of grass growing back on it, and you're better off getting a nice seed into it. It's always nice to get seed, fresh seed into the ground, and that there will be perfect for it now. You can see here where we're still hitting wet spots. Water still laying on top of the ground here, and that's very, very wet. That is a shore. I know exactly where it's coming from. I remember my father talking about, and he run a shore or a big drain to catch a shuck maybe that was running up the middle of that field and down here and into that drain that's down below, but it's just blocked there. That's all it is. So next time Jerry's here, he has to come back to clean that drain out anyway. He has to clean it every couple of years to keep it running right. It's an important drain to keep running right because it stops the water running across and down into the lower paddocks, so it needs to be cleaned again. Whether I do it with the shovel or the digger, we'll see, but this here will just need to be cleaned out. Put a new pipe in probably from there down, bit of gravel on top of it, and that'll be that solved. Now, any of you guys that follow the Funky Farmer on Facebook as well, he's on his YouTube channel, of course, in the UK. He posted a picture of his strip graze and just talking about the conditions his paddocks was in, and things were tricky, I think was the title of it, or tricky conditions or something like that. We added a photo in the comment section of what our field was like that same morning, and this was the field we were standing in. I was standing right here taking the cows out of the field. There was a heifer just standing there in front of me, the last animal gone out of the field, and the picture was taken here, and it looked an awful mess. It was just like a dunkel. But here it is now, nothing done to it only after rolling it here, but you see the way the grass grew back on it. Fixed that. The problem we had in here was we had 3 cows came a bulling that particular night, and they went mad. They actually cut the paddock up, running back and forth. You know what animals do when they're in heat, and that made the thing an awful lot worse. But between this and this, in a week or so, if you left it alone, the grass would grow up through it anyway, and you'd never know any problem was ever there. Now that's it, that's this job done. I'm going to leave the roller up there in the corner for now. I'm going up with the tractor to hook on the agitator because I want to get some slurry out on other paddocks now this evening. It doesn't look too bad here, and it's not too bad. The drone shows it better. You can see how much poaching there was actually done here. You're looking across ways this time, but down you can see how open the ground is. So ideal for doing a bit of overseeding. So it's actually a week later now, and the weather has changed dramatically. But anyway, there's our spreader. That's it. That's the last time you'll probably see it being used. I just want to give you a real final rundown of what I actually think of the thing. Some of you will ask, did we buy it? Or are we going to buy it? A lot of people said, Adrian, you wouldn't let that leave the farm. Well, I'm going to be very straight with you on it. An excellent bit of kit. It has been very, very useful for us, especially the year that's in it, where ground was just the way ground was. It allowed us to get all our silage ground finished off. It allowed us to get all them fields that you just seen done as well, and it never put a mark on the ground. If you are interested in buying any type of fertilizer spreader and you're worried about size and things, I would definitely recommend going for a half ton. If you have a quad that's over 350 cc's upwards and 4-wheel drive, and your land, look, it depends on your land too, but even with steep ground on that, you'll manage the best. You don't have to fill it. You can get one of them spouts and work it from there. But I think for the little bit of extra cost, half ton is definitely the way to go. Now, quad spreaders, I see the concept of them. I see why so many people, I don't think I've seen one negative comment that was on any of the videos that we're showing of this. Everybody says the same thing. Once you get used to using it, once you use it for a while, you'll never be without it. You'll never put the other one back on the back of the tractor. And I can honestly probably see what you mean by that. But I still like my spreader on the back of the tractor, and I like the fact that it's paid for and doesn't owe me anything. These spreaders, they're not cheap. Nothing's cheap nowadays, and everything's going up and up. Well, maybe it'll level out soon, but things have went up a lot even the last few months. So this one here I found was stable, very stable on sloped ground. Now you might notice here, by the way, the pit is washed out and the cover's gone. We're about to start our silage here, so I'm just making the end of this video real quick before we do that. Good wide tyre on this. I think a wide tyre is quite important. If we're not leaving tracks on the field, it's nice to have a good set of wide wheels. If you can get them, whatever spreader you look at, get as wide as you can and get as wide a wheelbase as you can. That keeps the whole thing stable. This lever here, to me, could do it being a little bit longer and a little bit closer to the quad. Definitely usable, but it would have been lovely if it had been just maybe 4 inches, even just 4 inches longer, which I'm certain you could do easily without it causing any problem with the thing opening when you hit a bump or anything like that, because it is stiff enough there, and you could stiffen that up if you wanted to. But anything at all, just to be able to reach it a wee bit easier would definitely make it a lot more comfortable to use. This here, again, you have to wrench an awful lot to get this to engage and disengage. Some people never bother using it, just leave it engaged all the time. But imagine that wouldn't do great things for your gearbox if you were flying along on the road. So look, it's not hard to lean back. You're only doing that once or twice. But it would have been nice if it had been a little bit longer. Again, you could reach it more easily. If you have any questions, hit it down in the comment box. I'll answer you straight to the point as I can on it. I'm not making a commitment to buy one now at the moment. I have other commitments made, and this is just not on my list for this year. So, but it was brilliant to be able to try one out and see what the whole thing was about. So massive thanks to the guys at Friels ATV in Donegal for sending us out to us and giving us for a few weeks so we could test the thing out, because it was definitely a nice bit of knowledge gain. Maybe any of you guys are thinking down the line of buying some sort of a spreader. It might help you make a decision regardless what you might go for. Anyway guys, that's that machine in a nutshell. I'm going to leave it there for now. We're going to carry on getting bits and pieces ready here. I'm just about to hook on the sprayer to get some spraying done. Ivan is on his way to start mowing out this evening, so we're going to be digging dust into that, and we're going to be, yeah, that's all for the next video. So we'll see you then. Thanks very much for watching. Talk to you next one.